Pharah has always been a very strong hero, however hasn't seen much competitive play in recent months due to her hard counters of McCree and Soldier and to some degree projectile heroes like Zenyatta, and even Mei and Hanzo can deal with her. But there's no question as to her potential. The problem is, when she's in the air, she's always been a really easy target, and that is due to her movement being incredibly predictable. However, a recent buff that came through on the PTR might make her a little bit harder to hit, and as such, we may potentially start to see her in more high level and competitive play. So what are these buffs, you ask? Well, she saw a lift increase to her hover jets by 35%. Now, if you're curious what this looks like, take a look at the footage in the background. First, we'll look at the live server, her current hover jets. If I just hold down spacebar, you can see how high her lift can potentially take her. Now, when we move over to the PTR, you're gonna notice a significant increase in that lift. In fact, you'll notice exactly a 35% increase in that lift. Now, how does this translate? Obviously, first of all, it means she can get higher with just her hover jets, which means you're less reliant on the jump jet ability to get yourself elevated into the air. But what it also ends up meaning is that this is enough of an increase to allow Pharah to stay permanently airborne. That's right, you no longer have to land on the ground to reset your hover jet charge, just relying on letting off of it, and the time that your jump jet is activated is enough to recharge it to keep you in the air indefinitely. It is a tremendous boost. So now Pharah can float and glide around in the sky and not have to come down and land on the ground, where she will be most vulnerable to the enemy team. Pharah likes to be in the sky, but at the same time, Pharah is very vulnerable in the sky. It's an odd contradiction. She wants to be in the sky far away from the enemy so she can be raining down and stay out of range of a lot of heroes, but while she's up there, heroes like McCree, like Soldier, and even now Sombra are very good counters. Obviously Widowmaker is a great counter to her as well, but Widowmaker doesn't see a ton of play. It's a very odd contradiction, and a lot of times what she tries to do is spend time ducking out of line of sight or dropping down as quickly as she can to try to avoid getting shot down from the enemy. Now, with this buff, with this increase to her hover jet, it makes her move higher quicker. And as such, this also allows her to get to places that previously she would have needed her jump jets for. Now, this is a big deal because what this means is you can now save your jump jet instead of using it just to get onto that ledge to get a height advantage and then go from there. You can now just use your hover jets to get to a lot of those places and save your jump jet for when you feel like you're about to get hooked by a Roadhog or a Soldier McCree is locked onto you. Erratic movement is best for Pharah, and this helps her set her up into positions where she can save the jump jet and save that concussive blast to do the erratic movement needed to not get hit by the enemy. What's more though is that this increase just makes her feel better. Using her hover jets in the past felt awkward. It felt like they were weak, like they needed a kick in the ass, and this increase gives them that. It feels much smoother. Moving around feels much more, it feels like she actually belongs up there as opposed to struggling to get off the ground. It's a really nice change, and I have enjoyed playing Pharah a lot better. But we cannot forget the fact that she is still just as vulnerable to the heroes that have been keeping her out of popular play. What would help her deal with this would be either more horizontal movement outside of concussive blast, or the ability to drop down quickly beyond the base fall speed, something like a dive bomb mechanic. Anything to help her move more erratically would help her deal with these hard counters. That doesn't necessarily mean that she has to. Every hero should have a counter. That's how this game is designed. It is very much so rock, paper, scissors. Some heroes counter others very, very strongly. The fact that Pharah has counters isn't a problem, but to be able to deal with them a little bit better, to make her more of a possible pick, because I'm telling you guys, nowadays, in the games that I've been playing, moving from gold to platinum to now diamond, you don't see a ton of Pharah at these levels, and I barely ever see any Pharah when I watch any professional tournaments, so she's just shut down too hard by the counters that exist. We don't want her to have no counters, but having an ability to deal with it better, I think is nice, and I think this change could possibly be enough. On the flip side though, once more, we did just get the addition of Sombra, and that is yet again another hit scan hero that if she sees popular play will be another counter to Pharah. So this might not be enough depending on how popular Sombra is, if McCree remains continuously popular, if Soldier's popularity increases because of the buff that he has received on the PTR. It's an interesting situation, but I wanted to let you guys know Pharah has received a buff. Is it going to be enough to bring her back into popularity? It's really too early to tell. It depends on a lot of things and how the meta shifts once this patch finally goes through. All right, everybody, that is going to do it for me here today. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. As always, I want to know your thoughts about the Pharah buff. How do you feel about it? Do you think it's going to be enough to bring her back into popular play, or do you think she's still going to be shut down way too hard? Thank you all so much for watching. Hope you have a good afternoon, and until next time, I'll see you later.